Hello, everybody, and happy Monday, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. Let me go ahead and fire up this animation so we can start here. This is an update to Ashley's latest piece with the I forget you call it your good game animation, and I think it's just like all the bells and whistles turned on, all the render quality turned up, and everything. And I think it's great. My only question is, and it's actually we actually can't do this in the live session, so. Let's actually see. Can you? Let's try this again. Can you guys hear this if I do this?
Even show themselves. They're so afraid they will not even. Oh, it's the guy. So, oh, come on, man.
Can you guys hear that audio?
He says GG.
Yeah, it's funny because I can't hear you because you're. See, that's why I'm dumb. Okay. Yes, okay. My one comment on this shot is just I'm wondering if maybe, and I can't hear you guys respond because I've unplugged my headphones, but if you, I think the one thing is that when there's like the sound of the bad thing happening is like a split second delayed from the thing on the screen, and I'm wondering if those two shouldn't sync up a little bit more tightly. But I'll let you decide. It would just be a matter of shifting the audio cue just a little bit.
They will not. Oh, it's the guy.
Because I think his pause and his reaction is really great, but and like in the actual reaction of the animation and everything, and like in the timing of the light and everything is really good. It's just when I'm seeing it and watching it, when I'm hearing it and watching it, the sync between the thing on the screen and the sound that is slightly different. So I'll let you decide on that because it's not that big of a deal. But I think overall, based on what you've done, I think everything looks really great. Does anyone have any thoughts on this now that it's rendered? Any comp tweaks or anything you'd want to see made? I have one, and this is a little strange. So I can see that these cans are out of focus, but for some reason this line of the roof seems very in focus, as well as this right here. So I would just put those a little bit out of focus too, if you can. Anybody seen anything else before we move on? I think Ashley deserves a round of applause for this one. She worked on this a really long time. The render took a very long time too. So if everyone can unmute your microphone so we can give her a brief round of applause, that would be super rad. So all right, here we go. Yay! All right, Ashley. Woo! All right, cool. Right, let's move back over to Photoshop here. So Kat, we've got a new high resolution render. Anything else tweaked about this one? Perfect. And anybody else ready to clap, or is that just me? You guys ready to clap? Because I feel you're ready to clap. All right. All right, here we go. Let's clap it up. All right, good job, Kat. Woo, woo. Like that's I need more noisemakers in my room here. Thank you. Amazing work, Kat. That one looks. I think that's your best piece yet. It's really beautiful. All right, cool. All right, Nathania, let's talk about. We've got a few submissions from you. We've got your and this was just the one that you thought was too dark. So I'll go ahead. I'll leave that in for a second, and then we have. Oh, actually, I think I saved this out twice. Yeah, is this the same? Yeah, it's the same thing. Okay. So I want to start with the non-photo real one because I think this one is really cool and has a lot of potential. The biggest things for this is that even though it's this kind of like flat tune shading type of thing, I see that we have some value shifts. So we're going back over here, which is really, really cool with the line separation between the two. I still want there to be a little bit more like actual value shift. Like I want these sections, or I'm not quite sure what to call them, but like the areas of bright to dark, I just want them to be more dramatic in their value in terms of them getting darker, and as well as I'm wondering if there isn't a play on the saturation in there as well. Like, let's see if I can just grab them. Nope. I'm gonna try and magic wand that area. Actually, that might work. So like this region, not only would it get a little bit darker, but it would actually, I was wondering if it might be kind of cool to have it also lose a little bit of the saturation, and then as we go back a little bit more, and same deal here. And then as we go back further, because I think having it, and this might be too much of a saturation loss, but having it alter in two areas might actually be create a little more fall. And this is pretty extreme in terms of the amount of drop off that I'm talking about. But I think that like having it go from this warm tone to a different hue point or saturation point would be really nice in a way of making it a little bit more dynamic. I love that this is feeling, because so now, oh I get it now. Okay, because I was looking at this before, and at first glance, the last time I saw it, I thought this brightness was actually from the candles, because of the just kind of 2D position on screen, the way that it's up top middle, but it's actually light coming down. So I think if we want to make it really feel like window light coming down, I think we need to tighten the make it maybe a little bit more like an actual pillar of light coming down here, maybe on the wall, like the light kind of at an angle on the wall and then kind of hitting the ground a little bit. But overall, like I said, I really like the style. I also think that there's an area where if you can figure out a way to slightly darken, just grab these areas back here, like these back areas of the bookshelves, because I think that will, again, this is super janky, but like just by darkening that area a little bit, you can see that will allow those there to create a little more depth in the space. And same thing with the interior of the fireplace down here. And again, I'm not using any sort of scientific version of calculating that back, but like, and what some of that might be actually is rendering out an ambient occlusion pass, and mixing that in, like a really broad ambient occlusion, so it doesn't get like super tight, fine details, but like can really just pick up some of these deeper, like anything that's set back, like anything back over here, and just kind of darken those areas a little bit. How are you feeling about this? Are you able to? Yes, I think you're able to unmute. Oh, okay. Oh, so this. Oh, I see. So this is the lighting that will be into that. Got it. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think mostly it's like the idea of mixing, because what you're doing is a stylized thing, which is cool. But take full advantage of what the 3D packages give you in terms of like I said, like ambient occlusion, in terms of some of these other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might just be. It's just a matter of like that. Like it's like if you imagine all of them having different knobs on a giant machine, just dialing in the values a little bit. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So you mentioned that there was a gag in this of, and is it basically that this person has taken the suit of armor and appropriated it? Like what is the story that you're trying to tell? I guess I should say. Oh, like an end at the museum kind of a thing. That's funny. I read it as like this person in this very fancy house late at night when no one's watching actually puts on the suit of armor and wears it around. Maybe because that's what I would probably do if I owned a suit of armor. I just like tool around in it and just like, eat applesauce or whatever I do at night. And then, but I think that's pretty good. I like the idea of having it be like, it's almost like a museum that kind of highlights these areas, and like obviously something is missing there, and then it's like, oh, like it's a little bit of a stretch for the audience to make that connection. If now in terms of when you do it for like your final submission, if it's amongst a bunch of others, like I could see where that works out really well, like amongst a bunch of other submissions where the suit of armor is off to the side, and then in this one, I actually think that could be very funny. In terms of the lighting itself, I think, like I said, I like these pockets, but it's interesting that we don't see their source at all. right? Like there isn't something in because we can see pretty high up on the ceiling, and yeah, it's just it's a like I wonder if we wouldn't even put like a small volumetric light up here or something to kind of show that light would be shining down there. Although I don't know if that might complicate the visuals overall. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, or like a velvet rope that's been detached and put on the floor or something, or just yeah, something over there to be like, yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Or even just putting like like a title card up here and then a title card over here, that doesn't actually have the thing under it. I would remove this bright spot here just because, well, one of two things. I would either remove that or the light coming in through the doorway. But I think the light coming through the doorway actually does a good job of creating some shaping on the character here. And it's nice that I do like that it's layered over this darkness too. I think that's working out really well. Yeah, yeah. I think because I like that structure a lot. Yeah, so maybe just turn off this painting light there so we don't get lost over here. This light coming in from the side, it could be a little softer here on the ground. And then also, and I get, oh, that's actually because of this light. There's now like a doubling up of shadows there, but I think that'll go away. And then I would reduce this light so it doesn't quite stretch all the way across the room over here. Like, so maybe either by the angle or by like fall off, I would have it stop. Maybe even shorter than that, like probably. Yeah, like have it stop before we get into, and so that this area of light can be on its own thing. Yeah. Yeah, cool. But like I said, the shader that you created is really neat. It's really nice. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this one before we move on? All right, cool. All right. Yeah, you're very welcome. All right, Tanya. We have a, let's see, we got the update, previous, and let's have the reference over here, and the reference. So just grab this, throw this on top of here, just so we can quickly A/B the old with the new. Cool. All right, I like, let's see. Yeah, pole is less distracting in the foreground. I like the color variation a little bit. I like the color variation, like the coolness back here and the warmth more in the center. I think the warmth around the character can go a little bit more towards, like right now it's a little bit on the yellow side, and I want to push it a little bit more into the oranges. So just by adding a little bit of red here to kind of match what we're seeing from the reference, and then. One of the things that I think we can, like now that we've added a little more saturation to the light, it actually kind of darkens the light value overall. So I think we can boost the light value a little bit more. And when we have this much light coming down on her, the secondary effect of that was that there will be more bounce light in this region than there is in the darker regions around it. So I think we could boost a little bit more bounce light up underneath her skin, and then also have some specular lights coming in these fill areas, like spec only lights, just to kind of get some more shaping in the fill areas. Because like if you boost the diffuse in the bounce light, it'll look good, but it'll all just start to look pretty flat. So then adding in a little bit of a specular light in there as well would be really good. And then let's see. And the other thing is I think we can amp up there's some real dark values back here. And again, it's further away from camera. We don't have quite this amount of depth, but I think that we can actually make the areas back around here a little bit darker, and even maybe a little bit cooler too. Now that I do that. Just to really kind of get her to, like to really kind of like it's pretty, because even in the reference, it's pretty heavy-handed, like warm, cool, light, dark. And I think we can. I think you were going at it with a little bit of a little bit too much subtlety, and we kind of just like beat it over that. Yeah. No. Yeah, and I think where your head was at was good. Like you had the right, because it's actually, in this stuff, it's actually easy to make things very contrasty. And so our instinct is to just like, okay, let's always kind of lift and make sure that we have enough light bouncing around and it feels kind of like natural lighting. And that's great. And actually, that's like, truth be told, when I render stuff, especially if I'm doing it just for myself and I don't need to like master light in, pass it off to a bunch of artists, I will often, because this is just the way that I learned to photograph, was to photograph things in a way that's similar to how you originally rendered it, which is to get the most value in everything. You know, like have it nice, and actually this is the previous version, but like have it nice and like you've got value in every part of the image, so that you're not getting and then basically from there you can sculpt the image and do comp work to kind of lift values, pull values back, like decrease saturation, change the color around a little bit. But my main goal, and that's from photography, where you're like, I'm going to shoot this where I make sure I have value in all the elements within the shot, and then I can do it in the darkroom or do it in Photoshop, the final look stuff. Because the problem is that like if you render something and like let's say this pole is like rendered like super black, like you're not going to be able to pull any value out of there if the note is to lighten it. So I think that's a good instinct to have. Again, you've done a really, really nice job of getting these like golden sparkly bits and like contrasting those to the rest of them. The flowers, and again, the main reason why we designed this asset was the challenge of the flowers. They're tricky because like especially in the shadows, like it's so hard because like they're both flat and a little bit dark here. So it's almost like I want to take them and kind of brighten them up a little bit, but also like find an opportunity to get more richness in there, and then that will also involve desaturating them back down just a little bit, so that they're a little bit more into that kind of realm. Because like and it's really all about like their bright values, like the flowers that hit white. You want those, like even in the shadow, you want those going staying on their white side, because the second, and you can like slowly see this if we just like roll off this opacity, the second they start to turn a little bit gray, all of a sudden they look dirty and kind of gross. So yeah, and I mean it's like there's definitely opportunity for storytelling in there, because if you want if you want her to feel like she has these, she's just trying to sell these sad flowers just to get by, and like, or she's being forced in this, or she doesn't want to do it, like then it's a good time to keep the grays and the dirties in there. But if this is a person who's proud of their craft, who's making this thing, who's like really going for it, then you do want to keep those white values in there to keep it like bright and beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think in terms of the underground element, like you've got some like lovely little scratches and dings and stuff in here. I'm wondering, because like I used to travel in the subway a lot when I would go places, but this reminds me of a because I guess it's basically this yellow stripe on the ground that's like your warning stripe when you're getting too close to the subway. But there's always like stains on the wall from like water leaks or something like that. I wonder if like in this region over here we couldn't put something to indicate like more maybe graffiti, maybe something over like a larger bad thing happening to the wall that could indicate that could really help you contrast stuff, because actually the tile, although it has some scratches, does feel pretty clean. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's a really tough balance. It's also like different countries, different cultures have different ideas of what public transportation looks like. Because like a dirty subway station in some countries would look amazing to me as an American, because I can't. Ours are awful. But like, yeah, London's beautiful. They're amazing. We have like one new one that is incredible. The ones by my apartment are like you're walking into, in the summertime, it's like you're walking into like a furnace. It is the hottest, because you're kind of hot outside, and then you go down and it's just like oh, it's just so hot. But all of that kind of gets like that. Then there's humidity down there. Then everything kind of gets wet. Then everything kind of. But that being said, yeah, I do think the flowers can come up a little bit in brightness, and then. Yes, yeah, especially these guys down here in the highlights. So, but yeah, this is looking good. You've got the right idea, and you're just hitting notes at this point. All right. I think the bounce height you probably should re-render. I think you should increase. I think because it's all about like, you've got this light coming down, and then depending on the renderer, if it's Arnold or Redshift, it will provide for you secondary bounce light. Like it'll provide a global illumination, ray trace bounce kind of a thing. But for me, in a lot of circumstances, I'll just put an area light down here, like a big square, and then just have that kind of bad arrow shape bounce back up like underneath her a little bit, just to kind of boost it up a little bit, so you can kind of really feel like that whole thing. Yeah, this is looking cool. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point, Diana. That's really good. Or Diana. Oh, sorry, Kat. No, that's a really good point, because it does. Yeah, I think it's just having some like transparent parts, or parts you can see through. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All right, no problem. All right, cool. All right, well, that's it for today, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining in. And I look forward to seeing what you got tomorrow. Reminder, it's the 30th of the month, which means we got a couple days left, a day and a half left until the lighting challenge is done this month. So if you got them, make sure you submit them. Make sure you submit if you want, you can submit a work in progress tomorrow, and we'll do last notes before the midnight deadline. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you all have for that. So until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, happy lighting, everybody. Bye.